It may be a year before we elect North Carolina's next governor, but the race to win the primary is already underway.
And one of the Republicans running for the top job is State Treasurer Dale Folwell. CBS 17's Russ Bowen sat down with the treasurer today. And Russ, he raised some concerns about recent action his own party took within the state legislature.
That concern actually has to do with transparency. I also talked to the Treasurer Folwell about the questions people have raised when it comes to his criticism of the cost of weight loss drugs to the state of North Carolina. You've run for statewide office before. You've lost some a couple of times, but you've won as well, 2 times in a row as state treasurer, handedly. You could run again and have a good chance. Why governor?
Well, I've been honored to be the keeper of the public purse for the last 7 years, and as the state treasurer of North Carolina, I promised to be the best treasurer money couldn't buy, and I intend to be the best governor that money can't buy. We've lost sight of the meaning of words, and the root word of governor is to govern. I'm not necessarily interested in being called the governor, but I do want to take my ability to listen, act, and fix to parts of the state government that report to the governor of North Carolina. The governor is the CEO of the largest business in the state, employs more people, buys more light bulbs, more paper towels, and more everything. And there's still a lot of work to do with the DOT, which is barely out of the ditch, the DMV, even though we have a lot of hardworking people there at DMV, the crime lab, DHHS, all of those are cabinet positions that report to the governor. And as someone who has actually served in the legislature, been the Assistant Secretary of Commerce in charge of reforming the unemployment system, and now as the keeper of the public purse, I'm uniquely qualified to take on this challenge.
What are you seeing different today as far as the workings within the legislature compared to what it was like when you were doing it? What bothers you, or do you think it's just fine?
What bothers me is, as a Quaker, is that we seem to be screaming past each other and not talking to each other. It seems like the humility and the humanity has left our politic both at the federal and the state level. That's what I've witnessed. When I was in the legislature for the first 6 years, I was in the minority party. But even there proved that even though I was in the minority party, that I could introduce dozens of bills that actually got to the governor's desk that saved lives, saved minds, and saved money. That's what I've done during my entire public service career, and that's what I'll do as the next governor of North Carolina.
Now, one thing that ended up within this enormous budget, among other things that have really nothing to do with dollars, which you specialize in, by the way, is something you've been outspoken about, and so is the media, and that's access to public records, access to the recorded subjects within the offices within state legislators, that gives them more discretion as to what they hand over. If there's a public records request, it can give them the ability to destroy records before they move over to the archives if they retire. Why are you concerned about that?
I'm concerned about it because the confidence in government at the state and the federal level is at an all-time low. When you don't have sunshine on what's going on in the legislative process, it just reduces confidence. When people want to know how we arrived at a certain decision, we tell them.
You also run the state's largest healthcare system, essentially the state employees' healthcare system.
Right.
It's a big job. And you've also recently been outspoken, or at least raised some concerns about some of the weight loss drugs that are becoming more popular. They're very expensive, as you say. So what's your concern at this point with that cost?
Well, my concern is that this drug, not questioning the efficacy of it, has the potential, one drug, of bankrupting the state health plan, which is already facing financial challenges because of the increased cost of prescription drugs and healthcare services. I normally bring the 2 vials around for my props, but I forgot them today. All we're asking for Novo Nordisk, is the producer of this drug, is for our state employees to pay the same price for this drug in the United States and North Carolina as they pay in Denmark. In Denmark, this drug costs between $200 and $300. The retail price for this product could be up to $2,000 in the United States.
Per month?
Yes.
There are critics, though, who say it's a little irresponsible what you're doing, that you're putting lives at risk.
Well, as far as the State Employees Association, CNEC, and the North Carolina Retired Government Employees Association, they came and actually testified at our committee. And I don't think there's any space between us. They know the financial impact this is going to have on the state health plan. They know that unless we can get transparency and get this cost lowered, that there's a potential of premiums tripling for some of our state employees. They know that this is not emotional, it's not political, it's simply mathematical. And I'm very thankful to have their support as we start to drive toward transparency on this one drug we're talking about. This one drug that has the potential of costing the state health plan $170 million next year.
Now, Falwell has a steep hill to climb against Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, who does lead in the polls. Coming up at 5:30, the treasurer responds to Robinson and the rhetoric he has used that's fallen under a lot of criticism. I've reached out to the other candidates, of course, running for governor. Hope to have those interviews as well, guys.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing from more. Thanks, Russ.
You bet.